What's going on, man?
What's up, my man? I haven't seen you in so long, dog.
I feel like it's been 10 years.
I know, I missed you. I feel like I used to see you at like festival. I don't know what's happening, but I have not seen this face in way too long.
We're broken up. That's what happened.
I know.
Sorry to have to break the news to you on here.
Yeah, I was reading the signs. I've been good. I mean, it's been hectic, dude. Just touring everywhere and trying to do life and have a life, and it's good though.
Drew from the Chainsmokers, welcome back to America's Dance 30.
It's been a minute, huh? America's Dance 30, baby. I'm back. I'm still relevant after all these years.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Congratulations on another #1 for you guys with Don't Lie with Kim Petras. That is so awesome.
Thank you. Awesome to see this week.
Yeah, before we talk about how this song was born, speaking of things to be thankful for, how was your Thanksgiving?
Outstanding. My sister and my nephew are here, and it's like I'm getting to that, I'm about to be 35. I'm like thinking about kids. My sister's got a kid. This madman is like I love him to death, so I'm not thinking twice, but like every room he goes into, he inspects every single item there, rips it up, throws it on the ground. It's like, I have a Rottweiler, and I thought that was a lot, but I learned a lot this holiday.
Yeah, that's why I've got a cat. That's all I need.
There you go. I understand cat people now.
But, it's just as much of a pain in the ass like a toddler. Like Tucker chews up everything and just leaves it for me to clean up. So it's the same thing.
At least they're cute,
Absolutely. Not that we're saying that he's not cute. All toddlers are cute. Well, total side note, but just thinking about the holidays and thinking about traveling, I saw your post back in October about having 6 shows in 1 week, 3 in China, 3 in the U.S.
That week was fucked up.
Yeah, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but how do you do it?
Honestly, it's getting a lot harder. And I think Alex and I, when we started Chainsmokers, we remember playing in every, hole in the wall club in whatever town would have us. And, we didn't ever want to not play for fans that wanted to see us. And so that mentality has kind of pushed us through now a 12-year career of just absolutely ripping it. But I think, we're in our mid 30s now, and it's like, holy shit, like it's just getting way harder. And, we're just kind of signing up for whatever was like logistically possible without any respect to maybe this will kill us. And so we're trying to be a little bit more mindful of that going forward, but we don't want to overcommit and then let anyone down. So it's all we're in a recalibration, but damn, this last year was hectic.
Well, the reason that I asked the question is just recently I took my first ever European trip. I went to Amsterdam. And it nearly killed me. Like the jet lag was insane. I couldn't sleep. My stomach was messed up the entire time. Then when I got back, I was sick for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but you've always been pretty soft, so I'm not surprised.
Wow, shots fired early in the chat. What advice would you have for me for my next international trip to kind of make it go a little better?
Honestly, if I had an answer, I'd be practicing it, but just keep doing it. It's like all of those things. Endurance is the thing that pushes through all of everything. It's like we didn't have a second when we started touring like crazy to just even think twice about how we felt, because it was like there was so much adrenaline around it. And it's like if you can find meaningful things to go keep doing, like you'll build up the endurance, you'll figure out the jet lag thing. The jet lag thing like is always there, by the way. Like it's like you just know, you're just gonna expect it, anticipate it, and plan around it. That's kind of where we're at.
Yeah,
and sometimes you can't, and then you have to drink tequila. So that also
that's the solution.
Yeah.
I mean, the trip was amazing, but yeah, it was horrible.
Did you go for AID?
Yeah, I went for AD. Yeah, and it was my first time ever. And I mean, I was born in Canada, so that's technically my first international trip. But this was, that doesn't count. So this was incredible. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Amsterdam's such a cool city. It has so much to offer. I mean, yeah, I'm sure when you go for ADE, it's an emphasis on the party side, but the architecture, the way that the architecture in that city, the way the city's laid out, the food, the pace, the desserts in that city are insane. The art is so beautiful. It really has a lot to offer.
And that's the
So
ironic thing
it's
is you mentioned the partying. Like, I'm done with partying. So it wasn't really necessarily partying for me. I was all about walking everywhere, going to the museums, taking everything in. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Speaking of beautiful things, let's talk about this number one. Look at that seg. Talk about being soft.
Nice. Wow. Wow.
Don't lie.
Soft. He's also smooth, okay?
Let's talk about Don't Lie with Kim Petras. You know, I saw a kind of cryptic post that you guys posted where you talked about how it kind of changed the way you're producing music. What did you mean by that?
Yeah. I guess I didn't really like leave a lot out there for people to read into. I just kind of like said that. And honestly, there were supposed to be more songs that came after Don't Lie quicker. There's supposed to be like another couple songs that are out now. But through like the process of making that song, I feel like I unlocked that. We also did like a remix for Benson Boone, the Beautiful Things thing that we just kind of threw up on SoundCloud. We've actually been throwing up a lot of stuff on SoundCloud recently quietly. We haven't announced it. We haven't posted on Instagram. But for people listening to this, if you remember the Chainsmokers SoundCloud days back in like 2012 or 13, we're kind of subtly like bringing them back, just throwing stuff out there, stuff that like would not make it anywhere else, like just kind of sits on a hard drive, which is sad to us. But I think like through the process of like doing those remixes, making Don't Lie, the way that I produced that record kind of gave me just a bunch of new inspiration and ideas of where I can take the sound of you know, for 2024 or 2025 Chainsmokers. And then I didn't like put out anything after that to actually like follow up that statement. But that's like classic. What happens? I like get all excited. I say something and then I don't follow it up because it's just not. I'm like, all right, this is a bigger idea. No, I actually need time to do this. So anyway.
Well, sorry for bringing it to attention.
It's okay. I need to be addressed, I guess.
By the way, I know we're chatting all about Don't Lie, but I would love to sometime chat with you. And it doesn't have to be today. Maybe next time we're hanging out with each other. I would love to talk to you about older music.
Brian, you should know this. I don't know any music before 1995.
Oh my God.
It's an embarrassing thing about me, but like I was a massive music fan as a kid. And I know like a little bit of like the Eagles and like James Taylor. And I think like that's it. And then obviously like when I got into like playing the drums, I studied John Bonham and Led Zeppelin. But like I've never like as a fan gravitated to old music. I've always been obsessed with like what was sonically new. And I think that's like why, I mean, I remember, I don't know, I felt like the Postal Service was a huge influence on me because that was the beginning of like indie electronic for me, that I really like resonated with because they were like full songs with lyrics that I really resonated with. And then these new sounds that I hadn't heard in the previous bands that I had listened to. And that went up to like through like the 2008, like Passion Pit, Mike Snow, Phoenix, like that was like blew my mind. And then eventually we got to EDM. But like I've always been into like the new sonically newest sounding thing ever. And it's kept me from like really embracing old music. And every year I try to go back and find like some old thing that I wrote. I mean, I recently got into ABBA, which like, yeah. It's like that. This is really bad. And turns out they're amazing. Love them.
Yes, kind of.
And but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I've always been focused on like the future sound, and I don't know what it is.
I knew we got along for a reason because you like James Taylor. James Taylor is one of my favorite artists of all time. I mean, he's just amazing.
My middle name is James after James Taylor. Like apparently, that's what my dad told me.
Who would have thought that I would have woken up this morning and learned that about you?
There you go. Yeah.
So I saw that Emily Warren and Ink had a hand in helping write this. How was this smash born?
I mean, they're my writing besties, and I adore both of them so much. I started the song with Emily. I mainly wrote the song with Emily. Ink is just like comes in and just drops a couple of saucy. She's just the best at that. Ink is just like the raddest. She's just got so much flavor. But primarily Emily and I wrote the song, and we were just in my studio, and we were having kind of a dud of a day. And I hadn't prepared. I was short on time, touring a bunch, came in, I was like, I don't have any music for us to work on today. Let me just like tinker around. And so her and Alex were behind me talking about whatever the fuck. And I ended up like 2 hours into the session of like doing nothing, came up with a bass line. We nodded at each other like, okay, let's try to build a track around this. We wrote probably a completely different song over like the beginning of the instrumental of Don't Lie. And we're in a competitive mood that day. And we're just like, this just isn't it. But like, let's just like get right to the point. And I think Emily and I like to like sit next to each other and we'll both go back and freestyle. And I think Emily just did the da 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 da. And we were like, let's write a story around, let's fill in the blanks for that thing. And that's like kind of how it started. And like, Emily and I write a ton of songs together, but I think this one we just felt like had something really special to it. It just felt like it sounded very expensive. And so we just came back and we actually like rewrote the whole hook to have more sophisticated lyrics than picture you and me alone, da 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 da. That's a feeling that I want. And I ended up like scratching the next two versions because I wanted like really simple, obvious things at that part of the song. And so it's kind of funny, you know, like sometimes you do too much, you know, and you got to like dial it back and just be like, what were the first things we said and why did we say them? And maybe that's what it should be.
And it's so funny you mentioned that because chatting with Alesso, we kind of talk about the same thing where you get so far into versions that you normally just go back because you get away from the idea that you pretty much started with.
Yeah. That happens all the time. You know, in my process now, that's like the main thing I'm trying to solve for. And you know what kind of gets sad is like if I make a beat that I really love, I'm trying to be really prepared when I like go into sessions and like actually bring other people into our process and like give them like come with like something that I feel like really strong with like 3 or 4 options of some stuff that I feel really strongly about. And what sometimes is like you just beat that. I'll have this piece of music that I love and we just beat it to death and we never get it right and it taints the whole thing. And that just happens sometimes. And like sometimes you get in and you like hit it and it's gold. And I think the key there is to just protect what happened, like what you get out of that one moment. And not try to complicate it. No one overthink it. Don't be like, well, this line could be better. If it's hitting once, it's gonna always hit.
Now, how did Kim Petras come into it?
So Emily was working with Kim and was like, do you think she would like to? She's like the perfect person. Like her whole vibe aesthetic, personality just really fit with how we saw sonically where the song was at. And she hit her up and sent her the song. Was like, do you like this song? She's like, 100. Oh my God, like I love this. Let's get in. Let's do it. I think she's working on her own project right now. And she was willing to like take time to work on this with us, which was awesome.
That is so awesome. Now, I saw that you had teased it early in August. Did you change it after teasing it and before releasing it?
Probably not, because I think maybe. I don't know. I don't know. We're very loose with like playing stuff live. We didn't used to be. You know what's funny? Like back in the day, like we played Don't Let Me Down before it came out. We'd play it at the end of every single set. And we like knew we had something special with that song before it came out. And then after that, we just stopped doing that. I don't really know why. I think like around there's something just like this Coldplay era. I don't know. We just like everything felt like too big of a deal. And we just stopped doing it. But like we started doing it again and you get so much information by playing these records in front of people, like in the reaction, but also like you hear it in context that you just can't get in a room like I'm in right now. And it's just really like mix wise, I'm like, damn, that mix is just way too thick. Like I thought it was going to be amazing, and now I'm hearing it in context and it doesn't work. So anyway, that means that like then you go, it's subject to change after that. So if you're listening to our live sets, then don't get your heart. If you love, sorry, come for me in the comments. I don't know.
Well, something I always love finding out is how many different versions there are of a song from when you start working on it, all the tweaking that goes on to when you finally put it out. Do you remember what the final V was of Don't Lie?
Like what version? Oh, I'm curious. But you know what I do? And it's hard I don't go like one title. I'm like my engineer hates this because I'm like literally like him looking for a file on my desktop is like impossible because I'll name it one thing and then I'll be like, it should actually be, and I'll go V through 8 of that one thing. And then I'll be like, you know what, the song should be called this. And I switch the name. And I'm like, I should go back to this thing. And then I do like the first name, but like brand new this time or final or whatever.
Final.
Yeah. I feel like I probably average around like 30 versions. But that's just like being smart and saving as. So I don't know. I'm trying to get that number down, that means you're like doing less.
Now, with you mentioning that, was there another name to Don't Lie before it was Don't Lie?
It was Picture. Because the Don't Lie comes from the verse and the beginning of when Emily and I first wrote the song, we just had the picture you and me alone, da da da. We only had that hook and we didn't have the don't lie, I know you see me when you close. That all came later. So yeah, it was Picture.
You should have named it Da Da Da.
Yeah, but that's back to the point. Like, there's been so many da da das. Like, it felt like I don't know. Like, I don't know if you search da 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 on Spotify, what's gonna happen. But like,
I'm totally screwing with you. It's good that you didn't name it that. How long ago did you and Emily start working on it?
I think we got this whole thing done fairly quickly. I think we wrote it in like June.
Gotcha. Well, it's such a smash. Congratulations on another #1 for the Chainsmokers. That's so awesome.
Thanks, Brian.
Drew, it is always great seeing you and catching up. Thank you so much for your time with us on America's Dance 30.
Likewise. Thanks for having us back, and thanks for your help with the song and getting the word out there. It's always a grind, but glad this one is doing something.